Good morning. So we are moving on to chapter 13. We're going to start talking about the lead up to the Civil War. And we are going to start with probably one of the most famous images of that time period. And this is going to be John Gast's American Progress. And you've got the woman kind of heading westward. So you can see they're all facing left, which is going to imply westward movement. You have various modes of transportation. You've got the wagons, you've got the horseback, you've got Indians on the left who look afraid. You've got trains in the background. So a lot of things. And this is going to kind of exhibit the American belief of the time and manifest destiny, that is their God-given destiny to continue moving westward and have the United States be from ocean to ocean. So that's what we're going to start with, is manifest destiny. All right. So Oregon, that Oregon country, which is not the full state, actually it's more than just the state of Oregon, there's more to it, but the Oregon region was claimed by both the British and the United States. They agreed to allow people of both nations to settle there because there's kind of a disagreement on who owned it. In the 1840s, American interest increased with reports of excellent harbors and fertile soil. So Oregon is one of those places where you have a lot of opportunity for fishing. There's there's forest and lumber and plenty of food. So it's very bountiful in that respect. Americans are going to head to the region with wagons, oxen, cattle, kind of whatever they owned. Thousands are going to migrate on the Oregon Trail. They're going to settle there and in California. They'll go a little southward towards what is Mexico at that time. More than 34,000 people are going to die of disease and exposure during the 2,000-mile journey. Approximately 10,000 migrants are going to settle in the Willamette Valley. And voting is restricted to white men only. In California, you have about 3,000 migrants who are going to settle in the Mexican province of California during the 1840s. They granted land to the settlers to raise cattle. New England businesses sent agents to the area to buy leather for shoes and boots and things like that. And then, of course, they're going to marry their daughters to the elite Mexican ranchers, or the Californios, to kind of gain access to the land there. Thomas Larkin is one of those agents. He doesn't want to assimilate, but instead he wants to annex California for the United States. So we're going to come back to a similar thing that happens with Texas. You have a lot of American people who are allowed to live there by the Mexican government. And they're supposed to be following Mexican rule, and that's what they agree to, and they decide that they would rather be part of the United States. All right. You have the Great Plains area, which you can see on the map right there. That's going to be Nebraska, Kansas area, a little bit into New Mexico, Texas. Lots of wild grasses. It's going to go from Texas to Saskatchewan in Canada, west from the Missouri River to the Rocky Mountains. You have a lot of nomadic people here because they are going to be the ones that are hunting buffalo, and so they are following the buffalo. You have several tribes. It's going to include the Pawnees, the Mandans, the Apaches, the Comanches, the Kiowas, the Cheyennes, and the Arapahoes. They want European horses because they have found that it makes it easier for them to hunt buffalo. Unfortunately, they are weakened by European disease, which is going to decrease their numbers. There was a smallpox epidemic between 1779 and 1781, which kills about half of the Plains Indians. Others are going to be killed by European weapons, some from other tribes and some from white settlers. The Lakota Sioux, which are going to be in the Black Hills area, they trade for guns and ammunition with the French, the Spanish, and the Americans. They are buffalo hunters. They do have a nomadic lifestyle, and because they're nomadic, they're able to avoid those major outbreaks of disease. By the 1830s, they are the dominant tribe in the central and northern plains. They become very prosperous selling buffalo hides to American Fur Company and the Missouri Fur Company. The herds are declining, so you've heard of getting rid of the buffalo. And the Sioux don't really understand the market system well enough to demand proper prices. And the Lakota are part of the Sioux Indians. So they're really being taken advantage of, and they're overkilling, which is why they start to lose the population of the buffalo, because they are killing more than what they need at this point. They're killing to make money at this point and to get those European goods. The number of buffalo herds start to decline significantly. All right, the election of 1844 is going to really I don't know that it causes, it's going to result in a change of U.S. policy in the West. Southerners are going to want to annex Texas. So if you recall, Texas was originally not annexed, which is why they become a republic, because the United States will not annex them because would be considered a slave state, and there's all kinds of debates going on. And so they become their own republic, but they still want to be part of the United States. So that is going to be a big question in the 1844 election. In 1843, Americans in the Ohio River Valley and the Great Lakes states organized conventions. So you have Democrats and Whigs are going to call for U.S. control of the Oregon country. So from Spanish California to Russian Alaska. And Russia is part of Alaska at this point. Southerners renewed the call for the annexation of Texas. So again, all of this will be debated during these election campaigns. 5440 or fight is going to be the campaign slogan for the Tyler administration. Let's see, Van Buren and Clay, who are both running for president, opposed this treaty to annex Texas because they don't want the Senate to undertake the debate on slavery, so they don't want to have that conversation. So the election is going to center on Texas and Oregon. James Polk, who's a Democrat of Tennessee, James Polk used the campaign slogan 5440 or fight to show his support for claiming all of Oregon to the Alaska border. He does win the election, and James Polk is actually the president responsible for the largest amount of land added to the United States during his presidency. Well exceeds Jefferson and the Louisiana Purchase and even the 13 colonies and all that. He calls for the calls for annexation of Texas to increase. You get a joint resolution of Congress, and it brings it into the Union. It becomes the 28th state in December of 1845. Yeah, that's how Texas joined. So I don't know what you heard in Texas history class, but I tell you what I heard is that we wanted to be our own country. We did not want to be our own country. It was a result of what was going on, and that was kind of what had to happen. So they are very happy to be annexed in 1845. So that's going to bring us to the end of the Manifest Destiny section of this chapter. So I hope you have a good morning, afternoon, or evening, and I will see or speak to you soon. Bye.